Yeah.
When you wake up in the morning, do you wake up like Margot Robbie did in the Barbie movie?
When I wake up.
24/7 is Barbie.
Well, morning, noon, and night, I think about Barbie. She's not very glamorous, but she's designed to be the most articulated Barbie that had existed at that point. I think it's very patriotic looking. It's sort of white and red and blue, I think. This one is missing her iconic purple sunglasses. This might be my favorite doll of the 70s.
Hi, Christopher.
Hello.
You're sitting in our attic.
I'm in the real attic in the upstairs. Yeah.
If somebody's new here and didn't see our last couple videos, what's going on over here?
Well, we are taking a trip down memory lane to the 1970s with Grace. Our November box this month features a really lovely dress that sort of harkens back to a flowy, psychedelic time of a bygone era. And so in that story for the month, she sort of visits her aunt, and in her aunt's attic is this dress, and so we sort of recreated the attic from the story, written by Diana Vining. It's a perfect morning to spend in the attic with Grace, and rifle through some old trunks of old forgotten dusty things, and hopefully we find something good.
Yeah, we're always finding good things, but one thing that has been on your mind lately, which is on your mind 24/7, is Barbie.
Well, morning, noon, and night, I think about Barbie. Almost, anyway.
Do you really?
I almost. No, but often. It's routine for me to go to bed, sort of like sleepily scrolling through eBay just to like look at, window shopping for dolls that I can't afford. That's, some people go to bed with podcasts, or they turn on horror movies, or, sleep sounds, they read a book. I am scrolling eBay before I go to bed. Honk shoe, out cold. Yeah.
When you wake up in the morning, do you wake up like Margot Robbie did in the Barbie movie?
When I wake up. No, I think that's copyrighted. No, I wished. No, I'm like later in the movie Barbie where she like gets up and falls, but she like falls 2 stories down to the pool that isn't real. No, but all of that is to say, in our endeavor to sort of recreate a nostalgic set for a reminiscing of a 70s moment, we were thinking about all of the ways that Barbie has evolved through, decades, and some of the, glimmering highlights of the 70s for her. And so we thought, what the heck, we're in the attic, we're in the real attic upstairs. We might as well embark on a little nostalgic journey with Barbie today.
Yes, and the microphone, we have been having issues, but it's working great.
Okay.
But it's now working as a sash.
It's an accessory.
It's an accessory.
Yeah.
So we're going to be talking about your favorite 70s Barbie's fashions.
Today we're talking about Barbie. I mean, like, and every other day. But today especially we're talking about Barbie. I think there are some, my favorite dolls, obviously, I've said this I don't know how many times, are from the 60s. I have a decent collection of, many of her eras. I love 90s dolls. I grew up with 90s dolls. But in the wake of, Barbie mania this year, there's been a really, a huge surge of importance and conversations around vintage 60s dolls. But there are some really wonderful 70s dolls that don't get as much, or have not recently had as much attention. So what better opportunity than delving into the 70s than to sprinkle in a little bit of that today?
I love it. And the reason why I brought it up too is because Dee said that he thought the fashion of the month for Grace was hearkening back to a couple of Barbie's fashions. So I loved that.
I think the silhouette, very much, in silhouette for sure, it really does speak to a sort of flouncy, feminine Barbie ensemble. And I actually brought some of my favorites today.
Yay!
So maybe we can talk about similarities between them.
Let's do it.
Also, please excuse my gross Band-Aid finger. I cut myself earlier this morning and it was gooey and gross and it never fixed itself. So now we're bandaged, but hopefully it's not distracting today as you look at my fingers for God knows how long. Let's get into some Barbie stuff. So I want to start with, technically it's 69. It's not quite 70, but bear with me. Talking Barbie was, there were a couple different iterations of Talking Barbie. The first one was a 68, I think, was Talking Barbie. And she had a long ponytail with 3 little ribbons and super cute, but she had like a very distinct side pony. This is sort of like Generation 2 Talking Barbie, and this is a 1969-1970 doll. This is a brunette nape curl Talking Barbie, which I think are some of the prettiest ones. They're so gorgeous. This is a great example of a really nice one. She's mint in box. Tragically, like so many are, she is mute. She doesn't talk these days. We've tried, but she's really gorgeous, and I love this very very silly sort of silver tinsel and hunter orange swimsuit. She just looks like maybe like a traffic guard, but like hot hot traffic guard is kind of what this is giving me. I love her insane, huge, full, lush lashes, and I actually prefer this haircut to the first iteration. I think the little nape curl is so pretty. It's kind of like the Marlowe flip, but it's tied back in a ponytail. Just really very cute. She would say, you know, many things, better part of 12 things, I want to say. And of course, this is not giving me any examples of things that she actually says, but some of them say like, I know that this doll and the first iteration had different phrases. So some of them are like, let's go shopping, or like, hi, my name's Barbie, that kind of stuff. They were not always the same, and I can't remember exactly which. You'll probably know, viewers, if it's the first version or the second one where she actually said her name, and that's, I want to say that's the first one. That would make more sense, right? Anyway, this is Talking Barbie, and she is a coveted favorite, of course. Like, a talking doll is such a staple in a doll collection. And of course, we have one mint in box here in the shop. And I don't think that any Barbie video would be complete without, you know, talking about her, about Talking Barbie. But this in particular really kicks off the 70s, and I think it really shows off the era, you know, what is to come for the 70s. Sort of gimmick focused, sort of, and not in a cheap way necessarily, although some of them were. It's more focused on a different sort of playability beyond just imagination, right? It moves into like, what can Barbie do? Is Barbie doing something? Is she capable of doing something? And I think that was a really sort of fun, inventive turn for Barbie, and really changed the trajectory for the whole brand. So I'm consulting one of several books that I have. I don't know that I would consider this a Barble quite, but it's a very good resource. This is the Collectible Barbie Doll 2nd edition by Janine Fennick. I've actually taken off the dust jacket, but it's just a hot pink book, and you can see the title there of what's going on. This documents several eras of Barbie, all the way through like Mackie faces, so it's like, it's comprehensive in some way, but it's not super detailed. This is a great book if you're looking for like generic sort of standout highlights of any particular decade. Very standard rarities, so like you're not necessarily getting 2nd and 3rd and 4th tier off the wall specific rare hard to find stuff, but there's like pink skinned Japanese side part, you know, American Girls, and like that kind of thing. Any hoozles, I want to talk about the space that they have for the 70s, and right after the brunette nape curl comes out, Dramatic New Living Barbie comes out, and she is such a departure from what, you know, the very end of the 50s and the early 60s was showing in a glamour sort of way. Like I'd mentioned, really is turning a corner for what is Barbie capable of, what can Barbie physically do, what are her gimmicks and whatever. Dramatic New Living Barbie, I think, is so beautiful. She's so pretty, and she's not a doll that I initially really cared much for, because I think she's not very glamorous, but she's designed to be the most articulated Barbie that had existed at that point. And something I really admired about that doll was that she had bendable arms and bendable knees. She also had bendable ankles, and all 3 of those joints are concealed in vinyl or rubber, so that you can't actually see like a joint. I thought that was very fun. However, the issue for me then is that at the end of her arm, which is rubber, you have a joint and a hand that's plastic, and so it looks like she's just wearing like a leather face, like sleeve of skin. It's not good, but she's very pretty. Facially, she's so beautiful. She's got this like really beautiful, like pursed lips, surprised, gorgeous, like gorgeous face. And she's a mod sculpt, but the way that she's done is notable. I don't have a really great photo of her here, but we've got some examples down here of Dramatic New Living Barbie. Of course, I am particularly fond of the super white platinum hair, so we'll show a photo of those. And also the brunettes of this era are really gorgeous. She's a very mobile doll. She's the first doll that I think like tried to keep the familiar silhouette of Barbie, but the body's completely different. This doll has a ball joint waist so that she can sort of roll around and pivot at the waist where she couldn't before. She's a very physical doll, but I don't know. I don't think that she is typical in the canon of Barbie. Her feet don't really fit her shoes. Her hands are weird. Like, she's weird, right? And then of course the joints wear out more quickly. But facially, I love her. Ramble. Moving on to 1971, this might be my favorite doll of the 70s. Probably. That's a really hard decision to make, but she's one of my favorites. This is Growin' Pretty Hair Barbie. Just take a moment. Just revel in the beauty of Grown Pretty Hair Barbie. I think she is phenomenal. She's beyond words. She's perfect. This is my own. She's not quite mint in the box, but she is in her original box. Confession, I actually did have to take her out because when I purchased this doll, one of the straps of her dress was like hanging off the shoulder, which is like a cute look if it's on purpose, but it's like messy if it's not. And so I was like, if you're gonna be behind a window, displaying you forever, I need you to look perfect. And so I took her out just to fix the dress. But this doll is, I think if I had been around for this doll, I would have gone feral to have it. Like, she's amazing. This doll is sort of silly mechanically because she has a hollow head and a hollow torso, typically of Barbie, but there's a hole in the top of her head that houses a ponytail that you can either pull out and it extends like, I don't know, several inches, and it can be a long fall that sort of trails down. And then if you like hold her horizontally and like yank it back, it'll sort of retract into place like a tape measure. She's goofy, but the idea is that her hair grows and that she comes with all these other hair accessories that you can tack on or add to. She's got curls and braids and all these things that I think are so goofy. Like, I don't know that anybody actually really truly wore their hair like this in the 70s. I think there was like, Avon ads and like Vanity Fair articles that showed this, but like people in real life, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe. Quintessential pink. This again sort of really is the beginning of leaning into branding Barbie as like a pink icon. Pink in a feminist way, right? And sort of having that be something that really anchored the brand. She's got a gorgeous face, rooted lashes, the works. This doll is actually seen, like if you collect Barbie, you are looking for minute, minuscule differences that would distinguish one doll from another and making one or more of those more collectible than the other. In my own personal preference opinions, she could have like a darker, richer eye makeup. Some of these dolls, like the lower liner is paler than the iris color, and sometimes it's thinner, and I think it looks more flattering if it's just a little bit fuller and a little bit darker. Also, this era of Barbie had like pale and neutral lip colors that sometimes faded to like a nude, and then sometimes stayed like a petal color, and then others have this like insane fluorescent orange lipstick, and like of course I prefer the crazy one. If you see like the orange, the bright like tangerine almost, it's just beautiful neon orange lipstick. I would not be mad if this one had brighter lipstick, but her hair is mint in its original like plastic molding to keep her like silly little bun in place. It's all original. She's a very fun one. So this doll was the first issue of Grown Pretty Hair Barbie. In the next year, I think it was 1972, there was another version, and she was more of a like 70s peasant dress prairie sort of inspired. I think it's very patriotic looking. It's sort sort of white and red and blue, I think, floral print, and her hair has a different pattern. It's sort of like pulled back bangs and like a big donut on top. Similar to this, but without the like side swooping, curling, you know, little spit curls. I prefer this one simply because like the pink, obviously, and I think the hair is really pretty. However, if you've got like a really good face, what it comes down to is I'm a face collector. So if you've got a good face, I don't really care what version it is because I just appreciate that she's really pretty. Like you could present to me like a really very rare, very expensive, valuable doll, and like I'd be excited just by virtue of that. But if you have a, you know, another doll that maybe even isn't worth as much, you know, monetary value, but is remarkably beautiful, I prefer the like pretty doll. And I don't know how to better articulate that other than to do a comparison. Like you can see side by side if a doll is more artfully painted, or if the stencil lines up in a more flattering way, or the colors are more engaging. Like it's just, it just comes down to like beauty. And perhaps that sounds silly for a thing like Barbie, who's like so gorgeous, but I will die on this hill. Each Barbie looks different, and if you've got a really pretty one, then she's worth touching up too. Like get a busted doll to repair if she's just gorgeous. That's my hot take. We're moving from growing pretty hair Barbie to live action Barbie. And I think this is what people think of when they're walking into Party City and they're saying, I need a costume from the 70s. I think that there's so much more to the 70s than this iconography, than this imagery. It's certainly probably the most evocative of that era, but you know, naturally, of course, Barbie has to represent every era of every, you know, every cultural moment. So of course she's got the, you know, sort of tie-dye print and the fringe. This is a fun doll because she was designed to like quote-unquote dance or perform on stage with Ken and PJ and Christy, and there's a whole band. But she's goofy because she sort of gyrates. She just like wiggles, like that's her whole thing, is she just sort of like shakes around. But she's very pretty. Now I have an example here of ours in the shop, and I don't actually think this is on a like standard body, but this is a good representation of what the outfit looked like. Now it normally has wrist cuffs that we do not have, but she's really pretty. I think the face is gorgeous. She's got these enormous rooted lashes. This is sort of a nice anomaly. Barbie doesn't always have such really full, gorgeous lashes, but this one, they're so long. They like come out past the end of her nose. They're very long lashes. She's a good example of a pretty 70s doll. And actually, that's a pretty good lip color too. That's sort of what I'm talking about when I say like bright orange lips. This is more of like a salmon, like a peachy, but like bright, saturated color. So gorgeous. And I think with that sort of like ooh, like pouty lip face, it's such a flattering garnish on the sculpt. Very pretty. The fringe, of course, is very fun. It's a faux suede. This is like a rayon, so even for like 70s quality, it's very nice. She's a fun one. I don't know. I would like us collectively as a society to have a better understanding of the 70s than just this, but I'm glad that we have it as a hallmark of sorts.
Yeah, that's what I didn't want to do with the Grace subscription, and it's hard because I didn't want it to look like a Party City outfit.
Exactly. Well, and I like to say, or I'd like to think rather, that we were successful on that front. Oh my god. Okay, so obviously everyone's waiting for this one. Malibu Barbie was such a huge staple, and of course we have several examples here in the shop. This one is missing her iconic purple sunglasses, but she's a really nice example. She's not mint, but she's a really solid example of Malibu Barbie. She's got this like dipped in tang color skin. She's dark, you guys. She's dark. She's a different one because it's definitely the first, and it might be, gosh, I hope I don't misspeak saying this, it might be the last time that this mold, this is the Stacy mold, was used and called Barbie. So she was a really big deal when she came out because she had this, first of all, totally different face. It's nothing like the mod sculpt that we had become used to after the vintage sculpt with the, you know, the lash ridge. She's looking at you, right? It's very commanding, it's very confident, and it speaks a lot about like her femininity and wearing it proudly and wearing it with power, and I think that's impactful. But that's not a pretty doll, and I'll be the first to say it. I don't think Malibu Barbie is cute. Like, well, maybe she's cute. I don't think she's pretty. Call me a jerk. Call me whatever. I think this mold on Stacy, breathtaking. Those under eye bags, what are we doing with those? She needs some eye patches and some hot tea and a nice staycation. I don't know. I think she's perfectly cute, so I won't be ruthless to her, but perhaps there's a reason why they didn't keep making this face for a super long time for Barbie. I think it flatters Stacy with rooted lashes so nicely. I love Stacy's little like teethy grin and her eyebrows. I think the lashes on her and that sort of like heavy brow bone is really pretty, but it looks a very different face from anything we would associate with Barbie. Otherwise, she's gorgeous. I think the swimsuit is phenomenal. I think it's pink is the other sort of like common but rare variation. But I love the tall neck. It very much shows off and flatters her figure, I think. She's a fun one. She is reminiscent of a freedom of the 70s that I think there is a lot of effort to harness through things like Party City costumes that don't always land. But a bright turquoise swimsuit and nothing but, body oil to go burn in is a very accurate representation of what maybe the 70s were really like. Sorry, this mug like covers my whole face. I realize that when I'm using it, I'm just an orange mug with a bun. That's all you see. So I wish that I had a physical example to show you. My other like top contender for probable favorite for 70s is Walk Lively Barbie. She's so beautiful. So I've got a picture here of this little gal in the red in the middle. I think this doll is very, very pretty. This is not a great photo of her. We can probably insert some better ones. But this was a very fun one because she was another sort of gimmick feature. She had a body much like a Binnie Walker, where her arms and legs will move and her head turns side to side. It's the same sort of thing. But she came on a stand that had wheels underneath it. So if you were to roll the stand across the countertop, across the floor, whatever, some solid surface, she would sort of quote unquote walk, across the room, and had this gorgeous face. She's another one that like every once in a while you'll get one with that bright orange lipstick. I just love her platinum, almost like white blonde hair. Sometimes it's more of like a honey blonde, but I think this is such a beautiful doll. The outfit is a one-piece red jumper that I think it's the purse and the belt are like both sewn onto this, which is, it makes it silly that they're so hard to find, those accessories. But as a kid, I was always so disgruntled by accessories that were tacked on. It was like the first thing I did was like rip off something that was sewn on. I was like, you won't tell me what I want. Get this out of here, Anyway, she's gorgeous. I love this doll. I think she's so pretty and would someday, when she's not a fortune to buy, because I've been joking that it's a wonderful time to be a fan of Barbie and it's a terrible time to be a collector of Barbie. That is true. So when the market dies down in a decade, I'll consider buying some more. But she's a fun one. Who else is worth... Okay, so naturally, we have to talk about Superstar Barbie. Superstar Barbie, I can't think of a bigger shift for her history than the Superstar mold. Like, I think that was probably the biggest thing to happen to Barbie, and has happened since. Like, maybe that's rude, but I think that might be true. She was the return of glamour. She was ethereal. She was effeminate. She was indulgent. She was glistening, right? She was pink and just bright, teethy grin. I love the Superstar mold, but it's not my favorite. But it's, undeniably breathtaking. So we got a couple examples here. This would be like what you think of as quintessential Superstar Barbie. These are actually all the same faces. Golden Dream Christie is an absolute must. She's so beautiful. Golden Dream Christie and like Kissing Christie and like Ballerina Cara are some of the most beautiful dolls I've ever seen. I would love to have her someday. Anyway, these are some superstars, and I want to show you one of my favorite superstars. So I've actually shown her on my own Instagram before. One of my very dearest friends jokes that this is a Phyllis Diller Barbie. If you don't know, look up Phyllis Diller. This is Pretty Change's Barbie, and I think she is a knockout. She has this like just electric orange skin. Like she's almost like fluorescent neon pinky orangey. She's so pretty. She's a Chernobyl Barbie. She's a radioactive Barbie. But she's got this absolutely breathtaking limoncello sort of color scheme. This outfit comes with several pieces, so the advertising behind her shows that, you know, you can, the whole point is that she's got multiple wigs or falls or hats or things that can be worn as hats that are also capes, that are also what have you. It's very, this is like the queen of mixing and matching. Pink and Pretty Barbie be damned. I think this is so wonderful. I love the rose that, like, she doesn't need to have a scarf with a rose on it, but she does. This comes with multiple jewelry accessories, and she's got a sort of a bubble cut that you wouldn't think of as a 80s hairstyle much really, but it's reminiscent of what you would see from 60s dolls, like mid-late 60s, before the turn of mod, before American Girl. There were so many patterns for bubble cuts, like I would almost argue no two are the same. Like they vary a lot. And this to me is reminiscent of that. But I love the jumpsuit. I love the ways that you can wear the overskirt and this like puffy blouse that's also a shawl. I mean, it's just, she is so gorgeous. And the face paint, I think there's something really pretty about how simple her face is painted. That might sound crazy with like cerulean eyeshadow, but I think the way that it's done is just very flattering and simple and sort of understated. I think she's so pretty. One of my absolute musts. And I think that brings us to one of the most iconic Barbies, maybe of all time. I think she's 1976 Ballerina Barbie. 78! I knew I was wrong. Darn it. Okay, anyway. Cancel me. I think Ballerina Barbie is so pretty. This is actually a more particular variation of Ballerina Barbie. Usually she has a face that looks sort of like Sweet 16 Barbie or Free Moving Barbie. She's got these sort of wide eyes and very simple eye makeup and like really small, sort of like not very pretty lips, I don't think. Usually her face is like sort of meh, but this has a, what do they call this one? She's like Ballerina on Tour Barbie. She's very, it's sort of dramatic, elongated, gorgeous eyes, deep, rich color, and this beautiful white shimmering ballet ensemble. I love the plastic roses. The crown is so silly. It plunges into her head. It's designed so that the crown has sort of a cup shape, and you can use your finger to hold it down and then like twirl her with your other hand so she like spins. It's cute. I think she's beautiful, and like I can't think of anything that's more effeminate and graceful and breathtaking as a depiction of femininity than a ballerina, and I think it's so natural for Barbie. I believe this was the first doll that was actually advertised as a ballerina doll. Like there was a ballerina outfit, obviously, for Barbie in the 60s, but this was the first, I think, of several that was a doll marketed that way, like dressed in whatever. She's beautiful. Another one that sort of actually shares a similar face that I want to show you is a very rare, coveted doll that I love. Mattel often used the same name or like a riff on the same name for different dolls or ensembles or whatever many times over several years, and they used Beautiful Bride a couple times. They did one in the 2000s, and then of course I think it was 68. They had the one that everyone knows with a big bow and it's beautiful. I just so happen to have a couple of those ensembles at home. And anyway, there's another one from 76. Beautiful Bride was actually issued a couple times. And again, this isn't a great reference photo, but you can see on the bottom here and here are depictions of that doll. This one is rare because she was issued first with the mod sculpt you see here, and she's got these absolutely hypnotizing, piercing, commanding eyes with big lashes, and just like, she looks so beautiful. She looks unbelievable. I think this doll is breathtaking, but she's much less common because promptly after this, she was issued with a superstar face. So you'll see the same box, same dress, with a different doll inside. This one is much harder to find, and I think she, for me, for favorite dolls of the 70s, she has to make the cut. She's So I don't even need the dress. It's like a peasant dress, you know, it's like a prairie style peasant Laura Ingalls sort of silhouette, which is fine, it's fine. I just don't think it's like my favorite. But the face, you guys, I'm a face collector and she's beyond. She's so pretty. And I don't know, maybe is that where we leave it? Are those my favorites of the 70s? There was a equestrian Barbie, she was very pretty. There are noteworthy ones that I didn't mention, but I think of the ones that I brought, we talked about everybody. I think ending on that little note of glamour, moving into Superstar Barbie is a good place to leave it. I hope that you enjoyed digging through my attic with me today and looking at some old 70s relics. I obviously, I say this a lot, but it's true. Despite not having nostalgia for this in a first-hand way, I really feel a connection to items that are anchored in a period of time that I can still feel fondness for. Maybe that sounds silly, but I'm often in my life, I mean, my apartment is full of antique furniture, and it's about 100 years old, and so I want to like preserve that sort of nature, living in it, and that sort of follows me everywhere in my life. My car is a 30-year-old sports car. Everything in my life is either analog, rusty, or old, and I like it that way. My friends all make fun of me. You know, I just smell of prune juice and denture cream. I think exploring something like this feels akin to something home. I feel a connection to my parents, and I feel a connection to culture in a way that, I don't know, helps me have context for culture today and ways to appreciate that. And I don't know, perhaps that's too abstract, but dolls can do this for so many people in different degrees. I think dolls help us process things in a way that gives you permission to be nerdy. Like, you're allowed to be a weird doll person and not have that be your entire personality. It's one of the things that you operate in the world in. So until next time, you can join me in my attic soapbox. I look forward to that and enjoyed this very much. I had fun, and me and Barbie are going to finish the rest of our coffee that I've reheated like 3 times. Say bye, Barbie.
Bye, Barbie.
Bye, Barbie.